Howdy, friends. Yo, Pal Bo here. Yelling in on YouTube with the face freak and the voice for print. Um, we're streaming. We're trying. And I'm hoping that the chat will show up, but I'm still not seeing it. This is weird. Well, I've got Brian's model a little more prepped. Started to put a little base coat on it with some green ink. I'm going to do a reverse zenithal on it this morning. I tried to desaturate the green a little bit. So we're just, remember, sometimes your paintbrush gets dry tip. You can't find a good microphone, so we're going to fake it. But I figured if Bear can stream it 0 dark 30, then I guess so can I. Oh, hey, look, there's my head. I hope everyone's having an awesome Halloween. There we go. So I'm just doing a reverse zenithal with a more desaturated green ink. Just spraying it from the bottom. Try to get it a little more bright from the top, a little more dark from the bottom. There we go. That's a nice dark green. It's almost black. Oops. And it is coming up very black against the black prime. But you know, it's just a little knockabout Halloween. And I'm taking it seriously because I'm very thankful for my good friend Brian at Weird World War II for printing this guy for me. I probably should have done the reverse zenithal. Something a little lighter. But when I sort of desaturate that green, that really bright green on the top, and push a little more contrast. I hope that my compressor wasn't too loud. Anybody that doesn't have an airbrush, I really recommend it. I mean, it's not quite painting on cheating mode, but you can really get creative with it. You can experiment with inks and thinner paints. You can do texture effects. You can knock out terrain in a big fat hurry. So, oops. So I just want to desaturate that a little bit before I break out the brushes. I might do a little just yellow from the top, or a little yellow to this green. Probably going with some speed paints next and pick out some more of that texture. Oh, I kind of want to show that off. So my last video, it was in pieces, and that's not bad. You know, that if you watch my last video, that texture, I mean, it really doesn't look terrible. I said that was green stuff and Milliput mixed, and then I went through with my texture tools and tried to pull it down a little bit. I mean, it's not 100%, but at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a game piece, not a bust or any kind of centerpiece model. I think I'm going to go through in a minute and take some, I think, some ivory and pick out the teeth. And we'll see what we're going to do with the scales. I had a little bit of speckling earlier. I'm still trying to figure the airbrush out and get the pressure right. And play with, I've got the pressure about as high as this tank will take me, though. I still can't see the chat, which is unfortunate. I thought I had that settings. Doing it on my phone is kind of weird. If anybody wants to get me anything for Christmas, maybe a GoPro camera so I could run this on my, so I could do streams on my laptop instead of with the phone. But oh, there's the compressor kicking on again. I think that is about done for the airbrushing. I think I'm going to go through and set the wet palette and start picking out some of the details. Probably block in the teeth. On the little mouths. And I might go through with some even brighter ink on the very tip top. I think I've got some like bright emerald. Maybe that's what I already used. I used the verde. I think I used the emerald green for the top, and then I added black, dark green, and black paint to that ink to try to desaturate some of that bottom. I hope everyone has a happy all Halloween. We are mostly set up. I've got to set up the sound system still and the movie screen for the kids so I can have some entertainment. And then get the fire pit set up. So Halloween is kind of a big deal in my little neighborhood, though. We get a little bit in these dark. We get these dark areas a little bit. Oops. Dropsies. I hope everybody, though, yeah. I mean, maybe doing some horror gaming. You know, whatever you do, keep it weird. All right. Take this down. The great thing about the airbrush is that I can do it in the house, you know. But let me see if I can find a good brush. Still sort of evaluating this Green Stuff World Series 8. This was one of their cheaper fiber brushes or natural hair brushes. And I guess I've been using it for 6 or 8 months now. More than that. Including, actually painting with it, not counting the time I took off. Let's see. Put some water in this cup. And so we can find some sufficient dark off-white. Ivory. I don't want titanium white. We don't want that. Transparent white. That's right, ivory. Let's do a little Pro Acryl ivory. Base coat the teeth off white, and then go back through and add some Army Painter Strong Tone and bring those back down a little bit. There's the wet palette. Does feel good to be painting again, though. If I remember right, the Pro Acrylic paints are already pretty thin. I don't think I'll need to do much besides just wet the brush. See what kind of coverage we can get this morning. Remember, kids, nothing here, nothing on the Bow Paints Minis channel is sponsored. I paid for all this stuff myself. Yeah. Now this is going to require several coats again, 2 thin coats. I just want to start blocking in these teeth. Get them blocked in good, then I can go and add more detail later. Those are some pearly white chompers. Brian sent this model to me, made me promise that I would paint it. And I do realize that it's Halloween today. And I wish that I'd had it painted weeks ago, but been so busy. Kids, work, kids, work, kids, work. It's one thing to have a hobby, and it's actually another thing to get to spend any time actually doing it. This guy's gonna take forever and a day. I really wanted the teeth. I really wanted to paint the teeth on this thing because I really want that uncanny valley. I could have left them, since it's a plant, carnivorous plant. I could have just left the teeth brown or green, but I really want to push that macabre element. I like the idea of carnivorous monsters that aren't normally carnivorous, right? In your RPG or your tabletop war game or whatever. Carnivorous bunnies, carnivorous plants, carnivorous grasshoppers, whatever it is. I think that's the last two. It does like go down into there, but I don't want to paint those as teeth. I might, I don't know. I don't want to paint those at all. Honestly, the problem with projects this size is that it's way too easy to not finish them. I guess that is with any project, right? When you paint, that's why we end up with piles of the largest piles are minis that are in cardboard boxes. Your second largest pile are minis that are assembled. And then you've got another smaller pile of minis that are primed. And then you've got an infinitesimally small pile of minis that are actually tabletop ready. And then maybe after that, you take them a step further for a centerpiece ready. You've got something like, I don't know, like a Demon Primarch or I don't know, one of the big Tau battle suits or the Lord Horsey Boy. And you want to, make it the centerpiece of your army. I think the one thing that's kept me from actually playing tabletop games, is that I would never want to play with a gray army. I only want to play with at least a painted army. And if you don't have a painted army, then what's the point? But say you start with I don't know, 500 point battle force, not battle force, combat patrol. If it takes you 6 months to paint 500 points to your table's top standard, and then After that, you buy a couple of vehicles, take up to 1,000 points. Well, then you got to paint those. By the time you get to 2,000 points, the army that you bought is passed out of fashion. I guess that's why we don't buy models for the competitiveness, but for the cool factor, right? Buy the models you like, paint the models you like, and if you play a game with them, then that's cool. And I don't think this one is going to have teeth. Maybe only some of these are going to have teeth. When we're kids, the first rule of hobbying is have fun. The second rule of hobbying is your hobby, your way. You don't get to let other people tell you how to hobby. I don't care what, elite gamers say. I don't care what 4D gamers say. They're not buying my books. They're not buying my paints. They're not paying my mortgage. Why do they get to choose? How many of us plays a game? That said, I don't like people on the other side of that also tell me how I have to play the game. How I have to paint my models. Yeah, I think that the golden rule still applies, right? But if you treat other people with courtesy and respect, and just say firmly, no, this is my table. This is my gaming session. This is my, I don't know, Discord server or real life tabletop. I thin that down a bit too much. That's fine. No, just pull a Bob Ross, right? A happy little accident. I've got time. The great thing about doing this kind of painting is to me this counts as hobby time. Because you're doing it. I mean, we're having a chat. I'm talking about hobbying. But in addition to talking about hobbying, I am also hobbying. As much as I love talking about hobbying, I would much rather do it. So yeah, I think one more coat of this ivory, and then I'll go through with some like Army Painter Strong Tone or Reichland Flesh Shade and dull the teeth down a bit. But before I do that, I want to make sure I've got 2 thin coats. But since this is a monster, it's obviously, it's not, the standards are even lower, right? Because this is something that, number one, it's huge. It's not even, I don't know how to stat out a monster like this. What game would you stat it out for? And GURPS would be like 1,000-point monster. You could, if you're playing a game like Independence Day or something, where the players have, jet fighters, to go up against something this big. You're not doing it with the hand weapons. It's kind of loud. Let's get my commissar over here. Yeah. Sorry, dude. You're not doing it. Don't know what to do with that big mouth in the back, though. I'm honestly just making this up as I go. See, I might paint. I don't know about those. It's hard to see where the teeth ends and the scales begin. This would be the end boss of your Call of Cthulhu game. Fine point on this paint. Go. Almost glazing on at this point. It's starting to get cold out, which means that it's time to start painting again. Another thing about the airbrush, if I didn't have the airbrush, I would be outside on a warm afternoon, priming as many models as I could, because priming around here with rattle cans after about the end of October, about now, end of October, can be problematic. I wonder what this is in the back. And my impression was to maybe paint it brown like a leaf to accentuate the plant, in my mind, plant nature of this thing. It's plant snake hybrid. The other impression I had was to paint it flesh shade to bring out the body horror. But at the end, well, I've got it green for now, but nothing's permanent. I'm not going to strip it, obviously, but I mean, I could. Since I put the paint down with airbrush, it's pretty thin. I did prime it. I did put two layers of primer on it. And then I used a gray. Gosh, I don't know what gray I used. It was either an Army Painter or a Pro Acryl. I added warm gray for the zenithal, and then a bit of white dry brushing. try to accentuate those details. So you can see where to put my values, but yeah, you can see where that second coat is starting to get good coverage. I think white is probably my second least favorite color to paint with. This ivory is actually really bright though. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more dark sand, light tan, I guess. I don't know. But white typically has really bad coverage. Don't get me started on yellow. I have yet to find a yellow paint that I really like. I've got a few that don't quite piss me off, but none that are awesome. This is probably not the smoothest paint I've ever used. I might not have shaken it up enough. It's okay. Generally had good luck with Pro Acryl paints though, generally. Give a shout out to my favorite hobby shop, MRS Hobbies in Sandy, Utah, which does carry Pro Acryl paints. In addition to Vallejo, AK, then they also carry the 2 thin coats range. I have not tried any of those yet. I legitimately have enough paints to last the rest of my life. And I'm not buying any more until I either A, run out, or B, they dry out. So, but yeah, if you're down at, if you're in the Utah Valley, pardon me, Salt Lake Valley, northern Utah area, yeah, go down to MRS. They've got Gundam, they've got model trains, they've got all the good model kits. Whenever I feel like building a tank or a plane, or if I feel like I need a new game kit, I also carry Games Workshop, and they will order in anything that they don't have in stock. Like the new Kill Team starter set. I know everyone's going gaga over that because it has the old collectible, the old limited run Japanese kits for Space Marines versus Death Guard. So I'm starting to get good coverage on that. You have to let me know in the comments what your goals are right now for 2025, right? Game-wise, hobby-wise, play more games, play new games, try something new, GM a game that maybe put together a new group, paint more minis, start a new army. Read a hobby book. That's starting to turn out. Painting the inside is going to be, and I don't just mean the inside of the mouth, I mean the inside of the model, right? Might just have to give the impression of paint. It's all right. A good wash will forgive a multitude of sins. One thing I would like to do, I haven't done in, this century still, is right there, is attend a convention, a real gaming convention. When I was a kid, I could get my mom to drop me off at one of the smaller conventions in Arizona, like someplace like CopperCon or Hexacon, with nothing but a box of BattleTech minis, a pocket full of dice, and a little bit of cash if I wanted a snack or something. And I would stay from about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning until well after midnight. And I do miss that. Hit the speakers. Guest panel. Play a game I never played before. Because somebody was always, the tables set up. You could just sign up for both as a GM and as player. People would just run. Things were different. It wasn't just 2 games like it is now. Really 1 game and all of its variations. But it was a time before Magic, the Gathering, and a time before Pokemon. So, uh, Might take a break from this. It's about time to start setting up for Halloween. I realize it's about 8 a.m. here. 8:15 Mountain Daylight Time. But I said I gotta get the sound system out and make a last minute run to the store. How many trick-or-treaters do y'all get? I said the neighborhood I live in, everybody takes it pretty seriously, but for some reason we don't get nearly the trick-or-treaters because we live on the last street in the neighborhood. So this year I'm going all out to try to pull them in, try to entice them. Make them want to stop. I think Halloween is my favorite holiday. It's one I've probably got the best memories of as a kid. And a lot of folks say Christmas. But I think I could name more Halloween memories than I can Christmas memories. Now the question is, do I do the inside of the palettes pink? And if I was going to do that, should I have done that before I did the teeth? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I want to wish everyone a safe and healthy Halloween, though. Just be careful out there. I'm not saying that you're in danger. I'm just saying there's, traffic and impaired drivers and impaired pedestrians and all that happy shenanigans. I'm not planning on going anywhere tonight.